Welcome to the Weatherbox Holiday Special. My name is Steve, and today I'm going to show you a couple Christmas cookie recipes that are sure to impress the weather person in your life. I want to thank Jeff and Anne-Marie for letting me use their fantastic kitchen. Jeff is currently behind the camera right now. Anne-Marie made this fantastic Weatherbox themed apron. This whole thing's been a couple months in the works, and I'm super excited. Here we go. Here we go! The first Christmas cookie we're going to make is loaded gun sounding Koolarakia. Now you might be wondering what the heck that means. I'm gonna have Steve explain it for us.
Sure thing, Steve. When weather balloons with instruments are sent into the atmosphere, the temperature and dew point are recorded continuously and plotted on this skew-T diagram. The loaded gun sounding refers to the shape of the atmospheric profile that is conducive to supercells. Warm, moist air at the surface, followed by a temperature inversion, a thin layer where temperature increases with height. Then much drier air aloft. It's called a loaded gun because if this warm, moist air at the surface gets lifted above the temperature inversion, it will suddenly be warmer than the environment and able to rise freely tens of thousands of feet, exploding into a supercellular thunderstorm. Now let's make some cookies.
Now if you're familiar with Koolarakia, you might be thinking to yourself, that's a Greek Easter cookie, so why are you making it for Christmas? Well, truth be told, I just associate it with Christmas. When I was a kid, I had an old Greek lady that was living up the street about 10 houses from us. She had a really thick Greek accent, and I couldn't really understand what she was saying, but she always brought out this giant plate of Koolarakia, and I would just down the whole thing. So it's one of my favorites. Additionally, Christmas cookies tend to be very sugar-laden and very heavy, and I think adding Koolarakia to the mix helps to sort of lighten things up. So to start off, you're gonna need your standard hand mixer or stand mixer with a paddle attachment, and you're gonna take a third a cup of white sugar, a third a cup of butter. You're gonna wanna soften this ahead of time. Just lift this guy up. Get it in there. And then the zest of your favorite citrus. For me, I'm using half lemon and half orange. It's about, I don't know, a tablespoon of zest. You just wanna get that in here like this. Then you're just gonna beat this on medium speed until it's light and fluffy. So now we can turn it off. You wanna make sure you grab the smallest rubber spatula you can find. It can't be bigger than this. It can't be bigger than this. And you're gonna lift this up. You'll make sure you scrape the sides down. Get everything in there. Here we go. Next, you want to add 1 egg. Make sure you crack it first, common mistake. Just like that. And then a teaspoon of vanilla. And you're gonna blend this for about a minute on medium speed until it all comes together. Alrighty, next you're gonna add a 1/4 cup of milk, preferably whole. And you're gonna add it in here and then mix that until it's well combined. Okay, it's coming together here. Next, you're gonna gradually add 2 cups of flour and 3/4 teaspoon of baking soda. Add this a little at a time, doing about a third at a time until it gets incorporated. Add a little more here. There we go. And add the last bit of flour here. It is coming together. So this is about the texture that you want your dough to be. You can see it's coming together. It's very slightly tacky, but it's very pliable and you can roll it out and make shapes with it. So now it's important that you cover this dough and let it rest for about 15 or 30 minutes in the fridge. That flour is gonna hydrate and it's gonna really come together. It's gonna be a lot easier to roll out and make shapes. Cool, let's put it in the fridge. Okay, so after our dough has been chilling for about half an hour, I've separated it into 2 different bowls. And this is about, I don't know, 2-3 inch size ball of dough here. What you're gonna need is green gel food coloring and red gel food coloring. And you probably know where this is gonna go. The red food coloring is gonna represent the temperature of the environment on a skew-T diagram, and the green food coloring is going to represent the dew point temperature. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put a couple drops in each, and then we're gonna carefully work it in with our fingers. It is gonna get messy, I'm not gonna lie, but the result will be pretty cool. And then very slowly work it in there. Try desperately not to get it on my wonderful white apron, even though that's what aprons are for. And there you go, that's what the red dough is gonna look like, and now you just do the same for the green. A couple drops in there. Take your dough, fold it around, and just work it in there. Just like so. And that's what the green one looks like. So now we're ready to make shapes. What you're gonna do is you're gonna get some flour and lightly flour a surface to roll these out on. Pinch a little bit here. Lightly flour our surface. So now we're gonna pinch off, I don't know, maybe like a 1-inch ball like this. Gonna roll it out onto our surface like so. May have used a little too much flour, but you know what? We're gonna roll with it. It's the one thing I like about this dough compared to, making a pie crust, is this dough is a bit more forgiving and a bit more pliable. So if you mess up, you can just work in some more. There you go. Once they're about the same size and length, then you're good to go. Next, you want to grab a cookie sheet with parchment paper lining and bring it to your work area. There we go. Now here's the important part. What you're going to do is you're going to take your shapes like this, and in order to replicate the loaded gun sounding, you're going to want to pinch the bottom together. This part represents our warm, moist air at the surface, and then you're going to create that temperature inversion. In fact, I should actually flip it for me, because temperature of the environment's on the right-hand side, dew point's on the left-hand side. And there you go, you got your temperature inversion, and then you got your warm air dryer aloft, just like that. And then you're just gonna repeat this process over and over again until you run out of dough. So now is one of the most important parts. You wanna cover each of these in an egg wash. So you're gonna take one egg and you're gonna beat it. It has to be a tiny whisk. You have to use a tiny whisk. Don't use a full size, use a tiny whisk. Beautiful. Then you're gonna brush the tops of each of your koularakia. Just like so. You wanna make sure that you get the seam where the warm moist air at the surface is, because they are more likely to separate in the oven if you don't do so. There we go. There it is. So now you're gonna bake these in a 375-degree oven for around 12 to 15 minutes. Alrighty, after about 15 minutes, here they are. Are they perfect? No. We're gonna go ahead and try one here. You can see here, they held together pretty well, which I was a little bit worried about. But yeah, you got your temperature of the environment, dew point temperature. Very hot. Yeah, that lemon and orange zest really come through. It's a very delicate flavor. It's very lightly sweet. These are some of my favorite cookies of all time. I love these so much. So for the next cookie, I'm gonna make your standard classic Christmas cutout cookies, but with a twist. Now for this one, you're gonna wanna think of your favorite severe weather outbreak. It could be a tornado, a derecho, a hurricane. Once you have that in mind, you're gonna go to Google Images and you're gonna look up radar imagery from that event. Next, you're gonna wanna print it out. I've found that 5x7 or 4x6 is a pretty good size depending on how large you want your cookie. You can see I got the Tuscaloosa tornado from 2011, EF4. can see a printer really didn't like this part. It's got a debris ball and whatnot. Very cool radar imagery. I also got the Cedar Rapids derecho, August of 2020. So that's pretty cool. And then this is a cloud of mayflies. Yep, we'll do it. It'll work. So once you print out your radar imagery, the next thing you're going to want to do is cut out around the shape of the storm. Now, this is going to end up being your cutout cookie template. So you want to make sure you don't capture the whole thing. You want the general shape of the storm to be there. So for this one, I'm just going to cut around here. Cut around the debris ball here because that's the most important part. Get the inflow notch. Just like so. So yeah, if you look at that, it's in a general shape of the supercell. So that's kind of what you're looking for. Gonna do the same for the derecho here. This one's a bit more complicated. Gonna have to take some artistic liberty with this one here. And there we go, Cedar Rapids derecho. Then for the mayflies, whatever, I don't know, just go around like that. And then, boom, cloud of mayflies. I really wonder what this was like. I'm gonna have to look up pictures of this across Wisconsin. Not a good time. Make sure you put these somewhere dry for now while we make the cookie dough. The cutout cookie recipe is super easy. You're gonna take half a cup of butter and half a cup of sugar. Put it in your stand mixer. Fit on your trusty paddle attachment here. And you're gonna cream this together for a couple minutes until it's light and fluffy. There we go. Scrape the sides off once more. To that butter and sugar, you're gonna add 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. And then 1 large egg. Just like so. And beat this on medium speed for about a minute until well combined. Now it's time for our dry ingredients. We have 1.25 cups of flour. We have 1/4 teaspoon of salt and 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder. And you can just put it all in here at once. You're gonna wanna turn this on slowly to avoid a giant cloud of flour, which, we avoided it. Scrape down the sides once. Get all that flour and butter in there. There we go, dough's really coming together. So now you're gonna wanna take some plastic wrap and lay it down on your surface here, just like so. You're gonna wanna collect this dough and then put it into the plastic wrap and just get it all out. It's a very thick dough, which is good. Also a bit difficult to work with here. Collect it all in the center like this. Fold your plastic wrap over the top. And put that bad boy in the fridge for at least an hour to chill. So now it's been about an hour and our dough is nice and chilled. You can see it's really firmed up. We're gonna take it out of our plastic wrap. We're gonna put it on a floured surface and we're gonna roll it out to about 1/4 to 1/2 inch thickness. There we go. It's always good to flour the top as well because that's what comes in contact with the rolling pin. Roll that out. There we go. It's about 1/4 inch thickness. Now here is where your radar imagery comes into play. You're gonna wanna make sure that it's as flat as humanly possible. So if it's a little bent like mine was, because I folded it up, just try to get it flat. Roll it over the corner of your table. And this is gonna be your template. So what we're gonna do is gonna place them on the cookie dough, just like so, in whatever orientation that they fit. Just like that. And just like that. And then you're gonna hold this down, and with a knife, you're gonna carefully cut around the templates. Got a knife here. Very slowly. If the dough starts sticking, do not be afraid to put a little flour on the tip of your knife as well. And just do little cuts. Try not to pull. Try to do an up and down stabbing motion when you do this. Beautiful. Now carefully remove your templates here, like so. And then you're going to want to pull away the rest of the dough, just like that, to just leave your radar cookies behind. You can, of course, re-roll this and make another batch if you so choose. So now we're going to take our friend, the cookie sheet with parchment paper, and we're going to carefully transfer these guys onto the cookie sheet, just like so. There we go. So now you want to take just a little bit of milk and you want to brush the tops of your cookies before they go into the oven. Just a little bit. Don't forget about the mayflies. Cool. So now you're going to put these in a 350-degree oven for about 9 to 10 minutes or until golden brown. Windy. There we go. Okay, so our cookies are done. They turned out great. They're in the general shape of the radar imagery, which is awesome. I went ahead and put together your general reflectivity color spectrum here. So this is just powdered sugar and milk in a bowl and some food coloring. So we got green, yellow, red, and pink. So not really a lot of pink, which usually represents hail, but there is in the debris ball for the Tuscaloosa tornado, which I want to make sure I capture. Now there's a couple different options when it comes to decorating your cookies. If you have piping bags, and if you're skilled with the piping bag, you can use your icing in one of those. If you have a plastic bag, you can cut a little tiny hole in the tip there, in the corner. Really very small, and you can put your frosting in here and then do it that way. That's what I'm gonna attempt to do, so we're gonna see how that goes. Also, another great method is using Q-tips for once you have a little outline of icing down. You can use the, did I say Q-tips?
Sure did.
Don't use those. Toothpicks. You take the toothpicks and you could spread the icing out in all directions. So we're gonna try it and we're gonna see what happens. Let's get some of this icing. It's already starting to crystallize, which is, you know, not the best. Oh, there you go. Minimum spillage there. Grape nut. You wanna, is that the right corner? She says yes. Okay, let's see what this does here. That's a lot better. That is a lot better. It's gonna cut in by the rear flank downdraft right over there. And it's gonna go up over there. Now we can grab a toothpick and pull the icing to the outside. So we got some yellow here. Squeeze it out along the inner lining here. Kind of touches the edge of that and goes around. Beautiful. And there we go. I think that's it. It's not the worst job I've ever seen. You got your little debris ball there for the Tuscaloosa. Got your bow echo for the Cedar Rapids derecho. And you got your mayflies, which mayflies. Let's have a taste. Christmas classic, really can't go wrong. I could eat like 30 of these things. So good. All right, for our final Christmas cookie, we're gonna make hailstones. Let me show you what I mean.
So hailstones have a very interesting anatomy. At the center exists the hail embryo, a white frozen water droplet or graupel stone that acts as the nucleus of the hailstone. It is heavy enough to fall, but light enough to get tossed between a storm's updraft and downdraft. As it rises and falls, liquid water sticks to it and freezes on contact, creating layers of ice. As the hailstone gets larger, the shape can become spiky and irregular. The cloudy outer layer results from the hailstone traveling through super cold cloud droplets that instantly freeze upon contact, trapping in air bubbles. With our Christmas hailstones, we're gonna try to capture all of these layers.
Jeff, can you get me a cake? Thank you. You're gonna start off with white cake, and that's very important because that is gonna form the clear layer of ice within our hailstone. In order to make this malleable, you're gonna take your favorite frosting, Pillsbury vanilla. You're gonna take a couple tablespoons and you're just gonna mash it into the cake. Let me show you. So literally, just take your hand, clean hand, start with that much, and you're just gonna get it in there. It is gonna get messy, but that's the point. Take a little bit more in there. Drop it in there. If you've ever made a pie crust before and you get your flour and your salt and then you cut in the shortening with your fingers, it's a very similar experience. We're looking to get the dough to just have just enough wetness so that it can come together. As you're doing this and you're slowly adding frosting, you're gonna notice that the cake is gonna become very moist, and the goal is to be able to form it into a ball and have it hold its shape like that. Once you get there, pretty much good to go. Don't have to add any more frosting. The next ingredient is gonna be our hail embryo, which is the little ice crystal and liquid water nugget that the hailstone forms around high up in a cloud. Now it's very important, what you wanna use for this is a white M&M. Now you might be thinking, where the heck do I get white M&Ms? I don't know. I'll tell you where I found them though. This Market District bag of trail mix, which is also very good with the white M&Ms removed. So if you use any other color than white, I will know and I'll be sad. So don't do it. It's gotta be white. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna take some of your cake here. You're gonna form a little bit of a patty here, like that, with a dimple in the center. You're gonna take your hail embryo and you're gonna stick it in the middle. You're gonna take some more cake and turn it into a ball like this. This cake represents the clear ice that wraps around our hail embryo and freezes high up in the atmosphere. Just like that. Then, I want to take a cookie tray like this, and you're just gonna place it on there. You're gonna rinse and repeat. As soon as you fill this tray up, what you wanna do next is stick it in the freezer for about 15 or 20 minutes just to get that outer layer temperature down, because we're gonna be dipping this in chocolate, and I'll show you that in a little bit. So it's been a couple hours now. I just took these out of the fridge. They are very chilled. And we got a bowl of white chocolate here. This is just white chocolate chips. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a bamboo skewer, we're gonna stick it into our hailstone just like that, and we're gonna dip it into our white chocolate, which is a lot more viscous than I thought it was gonna be. So let me just get it all in there, and it exploded in there. So we're gonna, you know what? We're gonna, a little technical difficulty here. Take 3, we got a fork now. Instead of using our hands, take your hailstone, put it in the white chocolate, and then you wanna get it all over top of it like this here. And then grab it on the fork, let it drip, That looks promising. Place it on to the parchment paper. There you go. Look at that. Full coverage. That's exactly what you want to see. And then, if you really want to, take a skewer. It's a little bit too long here. So just break it in half. Stick it right down the center like that. That's how you make a hailstone. So then you just repeat the process. Take a hailstone, put it in the white chocolate, coat it up just like this, let it drip, and then put it, it's parchment paper, and then bam, just like that. Now what happens is because these are chilled, that chocolate is going to harden around it immediately. So you can almost pick it up right away. It's your hail embryo. Got the hard outer layer, got the clear inner layer. Fantastic. Very good. Well, there you go, guys. I had a lot of fun doing this. 3 different types of Christmas cookies that I really enjoy making. I hope to do this next year. And yeah, hope you guys have a fantastic holiday season, and I'll be back in the new year. I'll see you.